Hey everybody, this is GGB. We're going to be getting into college football week 2, guys, and some teams has been eliminated from playoff contention, which means I don't have to do some of the games this week. Not a whole lot. It hasn't eliminated a whole bunch of games, but I don't have to do almost every single one like I did last week. If you did not know, the only 2 games I didn't have to do last week was UConn and Charlotte, and being the genius I am, I still accidentally did the Charlotte game, so I only didn't predict 1 college football game last week. So there will be more I'm not predicting this week. It will be more than 1, but I'm still doing a whole bunch, so it would be a great appreciation if you could go down, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We're up to 45 subscribers, guys. That's an insane amount for this channel, but I'd like to get that up to possibly 100 by next year at around this time. So I know this is an ambitious goal, but if you could just hit that like and subscribe button, that'd be hugely helpful to the channel. Don't forget to also follow my other channel, GGB Alternate Channel. I'm going to be posting stuff that's not football related on that one soon, so don't forget to go over there and like that one and subscribe to that one. That's going to be my alternate channel for just me goofing around and stuff. But at 7:30 we got Louisville, which started off the season 0-1. Traveling to UCF, which started off the season 1-0. UCF favored by 6 points on ESPN2. And this is going to be an elimination game, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to get a whole bunch this week, but whoever wins this game continues is still playoff eligible, and whoever loses is out of playoff eligibility. Louisville last week lost badly to Syracuse. Malik Cunningham went 16-23, threw for 152 yards, 0 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Tyon Evans had 13 carries for 89 yards and a tutty, and Tyler Hudson had 8 catches for 102 yards. UCF, on the other hand, is a completely different story. It had a great game, but it was against South Carolina State, so an entirely different level of competition. John Plumlee, a freshman quarterback in 2019 who started for the Ole Miss Rebels, was benched and replaced by Matt Corral, transferred to UCF this offseason, and he went 20-31, threw for 308 yards, 4 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, and had a 64.5% completion percentage. Isaiah Bowser on the ground had 23 carries for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Javon Baker had 5 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. Now, Louisville leads the series 2-1 all time, and the last game obviously went to Louisville in 2021, 42-35, when UCF lost the heartbreaker. If you guys don't remember last game these 2 teams played, Louisville had the ball in the closing seconds. It was tied 35-35, right? Louisville throws an interception. UCF recovers that interception, gets it at the 30, I think, or like maybe around the 40 at Louisville, with about 50 seconds left. Plenty of time to go down the field, just get a touchdown, win the game. The first play after that interception, there's a fumble. The Louisville defense returns it for a touchdown and wins the game. That is what happened in the Louisville-UCF game last year. It was a very good game, but very heartbreaking to a lot of UCF fans because it was very early on in the season, and that kind of sent their season down a spiral. Not really a spiral because they still ended up having 8 or 9 wins in that last season, but it could have been a much better season if not for that loss. So UCF kind of wants revenge in the series to tie the series up. Louisville, on the other hand, is coming off a bad loss to Syracuse. And Scott Satterfield has suddenly jumped himself into a very much hot seat, basically the second hottest seat in the ACC. I mean, outside of Jeff Collins for Georgia Tech, literally almost every other head coach has a more secure position than Scott Satterfield does at the moment. So this is a big game for Louisville, but also a big game for UCF. UCF actually has a chance to compete this year in the American, maybe even earn themselves a playoff spot, because again, if you go, last year Cincinnati proved if you go undefeated, you can get in the playoffs as a group of 5 team. And honestly, the AAC this year isn't the strongest thing in the world. Cincinnati obviously lost opening weekend to Arkansas. I understand Arkansas is a good football team, but I think it kind of shows that this could be a weaker side this year. Memphis lost pretty badly to Mississippi State, and ECU ended up losing to NC State, although they did give them quite a fight. SMU and Houston look like to be your biggest threats in the AAC side of things, but on the bright side, they play on the same side. SMU and Houston are going to battle each other for a chance to go to you are on a weaker side. And if you can beat Cincinnati, I understand Cincinnati, not top 25, but still a very good football team. UCF could conceivably get to the playoffs. UCF's in a very good position here. I think they are the better football team than Louisville. They're only being given 6 points. I think they win, and I think they cover that 6-point spread. At 9 o'clock, we got Boise State, which started off the season very lackluster with a 0-1 start against Oregon State. Traveling to New Mexico, which started off the season 1-0. Boise State favored by 17.5 points on CBS Sports Network. And it's starting to become panic time for the Boise State Broncos. It's not quite panic time yet, but last year they didn't have the greatest season. 7 or 8 wins. This was a down year for Boise State, but everyone just assumed that was just a down year for Boise State. But they start off with a 17-point loss to Oregon State, and obviously that is not the best sign to get things going here early on. Taylor Green last game went 19-28, threw for 155 yards, 0 touchdowns and 1 interceptions. He also led on the ground, 11 rushes for 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Ashton Gianti had 6 catches for 52 yards. Miles Kendrick for New Mexico went 14-17, threw for 170 yards, 2 touchdowns with 2 interceptions, and had 82.4% completion percentage. Sherrod White on the ground had 13 carries for 58 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Jordan Porter had 5 catches for 54 yards and a tutty. I know what you're thinking. These two teams play in the same conference. They must have history with each other. They, in fact, do. They've played 12 times. Boise State has won 11 of those 12 times. Really dominated the Lobos. Last 5 games have gone to Boise State from 1984 to 2021. Has been their winning streak. I'm sorry, no, that's not true. I'm sorry, 2016 to 2021. I misinterpreted my BSU, obviously, for 1984. It was obviously written pretty poorly, but 2016 to 2021, last 5 years they have obviously not lost to New Mexico. I think what is really interesting to look at here is Boise State. If Boise State loses this game, this could be a sign of real worry. You could really start to worry about the Broncos here. It could be a start of a panic in Idaho. New Mexico, on the other hand, could be a huge victory for the Lobos. The Mountain West doesn't have too many teams still playoff eligible after Boise State obviously lost opening weekend, Colorado State, Wyoming lost week 0. Air Force is obviously still eligible. San Diego State lost. They lost a lot of their better teams. Air Force and Fresno State being the only 2 teams that really have a chance of winning the Mountain West, still standing, undefeated. New Mexico has a chance to keep their playoff hopes alive, although how very small they are. I think Boise State has a big bounce-back game after that disappointing game against Oregon State. I think they go to New Mexico, and I think they kind of dominate them. I think they win, and I think they cover that 17.5-point spread.